welcome to another episode of Wrestling with the... I love how Cooley always puts me on a surprise. This man said... But y'all know the deal, man. Welcome to another episode of Wrestling with the Homies. Today, I got my very good friend, Jay Cooley, with me.
Peace,
Say
God.
what's up, say what's up.
Goddesses.
I got my boy, Sylvan A. Smith, Sylvan the Don. Sylvan with me.
What's popping, boys?
And y'all know who I am, man. I'm your boy Qwan, man. Your favorite. Now, look, before we came live, we were having a very interesting conversation, man. This man Sylvan was fired up because of some comments that Mos Def made against Drake, and I just want you to go into it, Sylvan. Why is this so heavy on your mind today, bro?
I wasn't fired up.
Why are you so upset about this? Is it because you hip hop? Is it because you hip hop? You real hip hop?
Like I'm not upset. I'm not upset about this. I am upset about this. Let me just. I am. I'm not gonna front.
You're not upset, or you are upset, bro. You gotta make a choice. You can't be
pick
both.
one, man.
You can't be both.
I am upset about this, man. Like I'm 100% upset about this. I definitely want to take the time to address this as compassionately as I possibly can, in saying that, you know what? Let me just start from the top. So, in case anybody has not known about what I'm talking about or what we're talking about, Mos Def was on an interview recently with, I believe, Richo Omandi from the Room Floor. I haven't really heard too much about this podcast or the Cutting Room Floor. I'm tripping. The Cutting Room Floor with Richo Omandi. I'm pretty sure I butchered your name. Sorry about that.
Shout out to you, whoever you are.
Yeah, for real. So basically, she was interviewing Mos Def or Yasin Bey and basically said, "Hey, is Drake hip hop?" And Mos Def basically was like, "Why are you putting me in this position?" So it already starts shady, but it is what it is, right? You're entitled to your opinion. I quote, Yasin Bey says, "Drake is pop to me in the sense that, like, if I was in a Target in Houston and I heard a Drake song, it feels like a lot of his music is compatible with shopping or shopping with an edge in certain instances." He then goes on to further his comments by saying, is this the end or the beginning of the end of an empire? Are we witnessing the fall of a structure that's been set in hip hop for a long time, which is basically, for the lack of a better word, commodification of hip hop, right? Like hip hop or hip hop music that sells at a very high level. So the reason I'm upset about this is not necessarily because of Yasin Bey. The reason I'm upset about this is because of the discourse that it's caused amongst hip hop as a culture. Now, anybody who knows me knows I am an artist and that I am a hip hop artist and I love hip hop. I love hip hop so much that I have this Chuck D book in the back of me and the IC title right next to it.
Chuck D.
Like, bro, I have both.
Nuts.
Bro, everybody knows.
Public enemy.
Straight up, bro. Everybody knows that I watch wrestling because I'm a hip hop artist and I think they are both the same thing. I want to also preface this by saying that I love Yasin Bey. I love Mos Def. I love Black on Both Sides. The Ecstatic is a classic. Reflection Eternal is a classic.
The New Danger,
Yes,
man.
sir.
New Danger is classic.
Bro, the New Danger is a classic. My favorite hip hop beat of all time is Respiration with Mos Def, Talib Kweli, and Common. Like, let's just I'm
Black
cut from that
Star.
cloth. I also want to start this off by saying that I love Drake. I am a Drake fanatic. I can rap at least 3 songs by heart from any Drake album, even the ones that I don't like.
Sick business.
And there's a few that I'm not great at. I'm not great with. I love Drake. I am a Drake aficionado. I am from the Nation of Drizlam. with that being said,
Oh yeah, you're sick.
with that
Wait,
being
wait,
said,
wait, wait. Nah.
What?
The
the
nation
nation of
of
Drizlam.
Drizlam, you
Yes.
Bruh,
are
you're
a
a
sick
sick.
Yes.
human
Oh,
being.
Yes.
That
wow.
Yes.
is an insane name, bro.
Yes, absolutely. With that being said, I am so mad that Mos Def had to even say this because it's just caused discourse that I personally hate. I hate that
Okay.
not that Mos Def is wrong. I think Mos Def is a pop. I think Mos Def is right about Drake being a pop artist, but that doesn't exclude him from being hip
Because
hop, right?
that was my question. I'm like, is was he right? Is Drake hip hop?
He's
Yes.
right,
Yes,
definitely.
he's right. Drake is a pop art.
Most Def is right.
Yes, Mos
Yeah.
Def is right. Drake is a pop artist.
All
That
right.
doesn't, but that doesn't exclude him from being a hip hop artist whatsoever. And the rhetoric is basically, well, the not rhetoric, but the delivery that Mos Def gave is basically that this guy is not hip hop at all. He's pop to me with an edge, and that could be. It's riddled. Delivery separates what you're actually trying to say, right? There's what you're saying, and then there's the delivery.
How you
And
say
Mos
it?
Def's
Yeah.
delivery and how he delivered it was he was being a hater. And I love Mos Def. I love Mos Def, but
Was
he
he
was being
though?
a hater.
He
Yes,
was.
he was. Yes, he was.
No,
Yes, he
No,
was,
he
bro.
Look,
wasn't,
Bro, no, don't get me riled up. Don't get me
Nah,
riled up.
no, because
There
nah.
is a
look, we
clear
know.
indication of when you're stating a fact and how you feel and when you're being a hater. Now, the reason Mos Def was being a hater was because you can tell in the delivery. When he was asked that question, it was, why are you putting me in this position? Drake
Bec-
is pop to me in the sense that if I
that's an
heard one of
incredible
his
impression.
songs in Target, it would be pleasant. He's
Look at all these
shopping. He's
skews. Look at
shopping
all
with an
these
edge.
skews.
Then they say, "Oh, it's likable music," and he goes, "Likable." Yeah, I guess it's likable. And then he goes into a mockery
That's
of,
his
"Oh,
personality,
look at these
man.
skews." Nah. It's not a personality. It's just it's hating. And he could have clearly said like Drake is a pop artist to me. I think some of his songs are likable. But I don't really consider him hip hop. That's not hating. That's your opinion.
Right.
He's in kayfabe, man. Come on,
Nah.
man.
You can be a hater, bro. You can be a hater and still tell the truth. It is
It
what
was
it
a little
is.
bit of hate. It was a little bit of
It
hate on
was.
those
It was.
Nah,
on that,
man.
but
And because
I'm
he hated Qwan, because he decided to be a hater in that moment, now we got all this crazy rhetoric. Oh, Drake doesn't have a song that's better than this Mos Def record. Oh, Mos Def Mos Def has done, such and such and such, but he's nobody. He hasn't done anything that Drake has
yeah, I
done.
hate
And it's
that. I
like,
hate that.
bro, are you kidding me? Are we really having this discussion? Are you really gonna sit here and tell me that Drake can't bar out and that he's not hip hop? Are you really gonna sit here and tell me that the Ecstatic or Black on Both Sides aren't classic albums and that he's not relevant to the times? Like, why does it's Mos Def's fault? Because of him, I have to watch rap Twitter be up in arms. And
It's not most Def fault.
it reminds me of when the IWC gets on about WWE and doesn't consider them real wrestling. And it
Ooh,
pisses
okay.
me off.
Okay,
Now,
that's a
Bro,
good tie-in.
what?
That's a good tie-in.
that's just kind of how I feel.
That's a
That's
good
just where I'm
tie-in.
at. You know what I mean?
Look,
And
what is the IWC, bro? Like, what is the IWC? I feel like we always mention the IWC on this podcast, and we kind of reference it like it's a big ass building downtown that you can just go into. It has IWC written on it in bold letters, and you just walk into it, and now you in the IWC. But that's clearly not the case. So, what exactly is the IWC? Like, what is it? What is it?
The IWC, for those who don't know, stands for Internet Wrestling Community.
Right?
It's a place, a magical place on the internet where you share your wrestling opinions, nothing more, nothing less. Now we have the good of it, we have the bad, and we have the ugly. The good, we're sharing our opinions between one another, and we all agree, yeah, life's great. The bad, oh, we disagree, so we fighting back and forth. And then we have the ugly, man, where people are just saying some outrageous stuff, commenting on all wrestlers' profiles and stuff. It's terrible. It's like the ugly part of the IWC is so extra that it reminds me of. Have y'all seen Murray? The Murray Show? It reminds me of when a guy gets the result of not being a father and he just does this backflip. Like, just so extra. Like, what are you doing, bro? It's just like that, man. The IWC is just like that. It's crazy. Like, it's just too
So,
much going
the
on.
the thing about the IWC is a lot of opinions that live on the IWC don't translate into real life, right? Because for the last week, I had to sit here and hear about how Jinder Mahal and Tony Khan went back and forth on Twitter, and somehow that made Jinder Mahal the biggest star in pro wrestling, like overnight. Like I was told by the IWC that Jinder Mahal would come out on Monday night and get a standing ovation. There was going to be signs in the audience for Jinder, and everybody was just going to be happy to see him. And I watched Raw this past Monday, and I saw Jinder Mahal come down to the ring. And fellas, when his music hit, you could hear crickets. You can hear a
Qwan
pin
tried to
drop.
rub it in my
There was
face.
no cheers, bro. There was no cheers. There were no boos. It was just dead silence.
Damn.
But I have to sit here and tell y'all that the IWC are made Jinder Mahal the biggest star overnight, and I told y'all that was bullshit. Like from the beginning, I told y'all that this was all just internet chatter. It would not translate, and lo and behold, I was right. Like it reminds me of the Street Fighter movie. Y'all remember the Street Fighter movie, right?
Yes.
In the early 90s.
Unfortunately.
Yes.
So it was a terrible movie. It was a
Terrible movie.
Terrible movie. But there's
Bison
one
Carey,
scene,
by the way.
oh my god, there was one scene in that movie that's like iconic, right? And it was Bison and Chun Li, and
Yeah.
Chun Li was explaining to Bison how he killed her father, right? And Bison is confused. He's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And Chun Li is taken aback. She's like, how can you not remember like rummaging my village and killing my father? And Bison looked at her dead in her face and he said the coldest line in movie history. He said, the day that Bison embraced your village was the most important day in your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
It was Tuesday.
Like
Yeah.
literally
Sheesh.
driving home how insignificant that moment was to him. And that's how I felt about this whole Jinder Mahal and Tony Khan thing. Like, of course, the habitually online IWC felt like this is the most important thing that they've ever seen, right? But to the general public, it was Tuesday. Like nobody cared. So when I saw this fact, I was going to come in this podcast and I was going to claim that the IWC was not real. I was going to claim that the IWC didn't exist. It's just a figment of our imagination. It is an algorithm on the internet. But I had to slow down. I had to slow down because without the IWC, this podcast does not exist. Like, if the IWC is not real, then that means that we're not real. And clearly, I'm a human. I'm sitting here talking to y'all. So the IWC clearly is real. So
Facts.
again, what the hell is the IWC? And it kind of brings me back to what Sylvan said earlier in the podcast. When I look at hip hop, I see two types of fans, right? I see the general public, which is the fans that ads are geared towards. The general public listens to music in a very black and white way. They either like an artist or they don't like an artist. They either like a song or they don't like a song. These are the fans that are going to shows. These are the fans that are going to the festivals. These are fans that are buying albums, right? But on the other side of that, you have the purist. And the purists, for some reason, are hyper focused on the things that they don't like. So you might hear about the Mos Defs and the MF Dooms and the people that the purists do like, but for the most part, the purists are hyper obsessed with what they don't like. So you often see them on Twitter talking about how terrible Playboy Cardi is or how bad Future is. The purists are the people who aren't spending money with the product. They're not going to shows. They're not buying albums. They're not buying artist merch. All they do is live to complain online. And to me, that's what the IWC is, like, in a nutshell. When I see a guy who likes to listen to Danny Brown all day and likes to listen to goddamn JPEG Mafia and then goes online and talks about how terrible Yeet is as an artist, I don't see any difference from that and a guy who wants to sit around and listen to or sit around and watch Bryan Danielson matches all day and then go online and talk about how bad WWE is because it's mainstream. Like the purist in hip hop and the IWC is the same thing to me. So I'll end with this. When we talk about the IWC on this podcast, I feel like it's a little bit misguided because we're not talking about the entire IWC because obviously people aren't monolith. I think we're really talking about the purist. There's a small segment of that IWC that's loud and vocal, and they are purists. They hate everything that's mainstream. Anything that doesn't fit their small box of what wrestling should be, they hate it. And that's really who we're talking towards when we talk about the IWC. But that's just my spiel. That's what I feel. How do y'all feel, man? What is the IWC?
IWC is the 1% of wrestling fans. Let's just call a spade, man. Wrestling, even though it's niche, it encompasses a large audience. and the IWC is the 1%, maybe the 0.5% of that audience. And we all think we know best. We all think we know the product because we are on the dirt sheets and we watch the product from a very biased booking space because we know how wrestling works in the background, and we know how wrestling works in the background in a more nuanced way than the average person, right? The average wrestling fan will watch wrestling and be like, oh yeah, I know this is scripted, and keep it pushing and enjoy the product. But then you have guys like us that are like, yeah, we know it's scripted and we also know how it's booked. And on top of that, we know that certain injuries are going down and certain deals are being made. And we all know when somebody's contract is up. Like we're sick people. And the average
We're not normal
community
humans, bro.
doesn't like we're not human, bro. Bro, we are sick nerds for real. Like I'm a nerd. Like we're all nerds in here. We
I'm a
all love
nerd.
this.
Nerd.
We love this for real. But we are not the majority. We are the minority. And because we are the minority, and because we think we know so much, it keeps us in an entitled space. And that is the IWC. I am a part of it. I get it. I see it. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But I'm also rooted in like what I care about. And like the things that I care about, like it ain't got nothing to do with the IWC to a certain degree, you know, but I'm still part of it. So
I agree
mean,
with you though.
yeah,
I agree with you on the 1% part, and I feel like that's the ugly part of the IWC. It's that 1%. Like it's the people that like threaten. They threaten to stop watching wrestling if their favorites don't win. Like what? What? Who cares?
I've had
or they.
friends who stopped watch wrestling because their favorites didn't win, like for years.
Hey,
That's
I was
crazy.
there. Like,
Sick.
can I make a confession to you, fellas? Can I make a confession?
Get your
I
rocks
used
All
to
off,
be a
right,
man.
let's get.
purist.
All right, Usher. Let's get it.
I used to be a purist, like in the biggest way, and not only with wrestling but with hip hop. Sylvan, you know this. You know this. When it comes to music, me and you, we're very sick in what we listen to.
Yeah.
Like, so there was a time when I was all about mainstream music, man. Like, there was a time when I was all about Lil Wayne and Young Jeezy, whatever was popping, right? And then at some point, I want to say like 2007, 2008, I really did my deep dive on hip hop, and I really went back and listened to like the Digging in the Crates crew and Boot Camp Click. And when I discovered that side of music and hip hop, I kind of became a purist. I started to turn my back on the things that actually made me fall in love with music in the first place. So I went from being a Lil Wayne fan to feeling like Lil Wayne was garbage because he couldn't stand next to, I don't know, Sean Price or whoever I was listening to at the time. And I had a very similar journey when it comes to wrestling because obviously I fell in love with wrestling as a kid. So WWF, WCW, that's what I was watching. But at some point in 2006, 2007, I got privy with the
Woo!
Ring of Honor and the
TNA.
PWG and even like the hardcore places like CZW. And because of that, I kind of turned my back on what got me to the dance. I started to feel like, the Ring of Honor way, the independent way was better than what was in the mainstream. So I started to go online and trash WWE. And now that I think about it in hindsight, I feel crazy, bro. I can't believe that I was such a purist. But you know what it is? I think we're all a little bit arrogant. I feel like as humans, we all search for like individuality, right? And because of that, a lot of times when something is popular, we try to take a stance against it because we feel like liking the thing that's less popular makes us more individual. We're not following the field, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like
Facts.
that kind of seeped through when it came to like not only music, but wrestling as well for me. So I felt like because I was in the 1% that was watching the Ring of Honor shows that only had 900 viewers, it made me somehow better than the people who were watching what was on TV. But that's a bad mindset to have, bro. It makes no sense at the end of the day. Wrestling is wrestling. Music is music.
CZW.
Yeah,
Wow.
CZW is crazy.
Combat Zone.
No,
Yeah,
I was
that's
fully
just
into
it.
CCW. Like Chris
Bruh, my favorite.
Hero, John Zandig. I was on all that. I was
Bro,
a
my
sick
favorite
boy.
wrestler was Ruckus from the independent scene. Bro was a beast. Like
Ruckus
what?
was
Come on,
nice.
bro. Do you remember
Blackout.
Ruckus?
The blackout, bro. Ruckus. I want to say Eddie Kingston was with him, and then my boy Sabian.
Yep. Bro,
Good
Look,
he
days,
was
man,
good
like the
days, good
Applejack
days.
mixed with
I've
Rey
never been
Mysterio is
a
crazy.
Facts.
I've never
Yeah.
been a wrestling purist. I'm gonna keep it straight. The most wrestling purist I've ever been was when I was tapping in the Ring of Honor and TNA in the mid 2000s. That was it. Like that was the
That
extent.
was the
I've
best TNA.
always, and I was only doing
Mm.
that because I was just tired of WWE messing up every single week. And then as soon as Punk came back with the pipe bomb, I was back at it. You know, back like we are so back, bro. But I was definitely a hip hop. I still am a hip hop purist. Like, let's just keep it I'll keep it a being. Like, I'm still a
How
hip
could you
hop
be a hip hop
purist.
purist and belong to the Nation of Islam
Because
at the same
Drake is
time? Though?
hip
Like, how
hop.
is that
Nation
possible?
of
Yo, first off, you know, and
Drizlam.
bro, first off, people don't understand. I hated Drake at first and I hated Drake at first because I watched Degrassi. I watched Degrassi from the very beginning. I had noggin. I was very privileged as a child. At 10 years old, I had noggin, and I was watching Degrassi: The Next Generation, and I was already on the fourth season of Degrassi by the time Drake was about to start Room for Improvement, and I was listening to Lupe Fiasco, bro. I was listening to
Same.
Cannibal Ox. I was listening to Jean Grey. Bro. I was listening
Woo!
like I was
The
listening,
album with Ninth Wonder,
bro. Incredible. I was listening to Sean Price, and people coming to me like, "Yo,
Sean
Drake's got a
Price.
new mixtape out." I'm like, "Yo, you want me to listen to Room for Improvement?" Like Jimmy just got shot. He's in a wheelchair. I'm not doing this.
Dang,
And
man.
then
Jimmy
comeback
Brooks.
season dropped, and I was like, all right, I'll give this a spin. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit more open.
Shake up the world.
And I was like, all right, and I was like, all right, this is hot. I went back to Room for Improvement. I was like, okay, this is cool. You know, I'll give him his flowers. And it's So Far Gone was when I was like, oh, okay, I'm here forever. Like I am part of this journey that this guy. Also, you gotta understand, man, Drake. I'm not gonna go on this tangent, but people don't understand that Drake is the new blueprint for the past 15 years of rappers. Like before Drake, there was everybody else and how you became famous, and then Drake dropped a mixtape and had 4 features with the hottest artists in the game and literally went to the Grammys, bro. As an up and coming rapper, nobody had ever seen anything like that on any type of level. So like you just like take like bro, we know this guy comes from hip hop. We know that Drake comes from the rapping on MF Doom and accordion instrumentals and like it's like bro, like he's cut from that cloth, man. But like I definitely consider Drake hip hop in the classic sense because he's done what every other rapper who loves hip hop has done, which is pay homage to the culture, man. And I was definitely a hip hop purist. I still am a hip hop purist. Like I've gone from being like, okay, I'm going to accept everything and try to start liking everything. Like I started out as a purist and I was like, let me get out of that. And then now I'm getting a little bit more in my age and I'm just like, man, I'm listening to Rock Marcy and Bodie James and like Kai, and just being like, bro, this is what I like. Like I just want to, I want to bump
I
this
feel
all
you.
day. So.
And it's
I ain't
nothing
listen to
wrong.
none of that. No, I'm just kidding.
Cooley's not lying.
I'm gonna keep it
Cooley's
a
not lying.
beanstalk, y'all. Y'all know
Yeah, you
me.
listen to Dom Kennedy, man.
No, not even that. Not
Shouts
even
out,
that.
bro.
I listen to R&B. Like people don't know. Like I am a R&B.
Oh yeah.
I am a R&B nerd, bro. I have New Jack swing songs that you probably never
He's
heard
not
of.
lying.
I
I
am
do
not
not
lying.
like New
I'm a
Jack Swing.
He's not
sicko when
lying.
it comes to R&B.
I do
But
not
you
like
know,
New Jack
y'all
Swing
got
at
it with the
all.
hip hop.
Yo, the parallels between music and hip hop and pro wrestling is so crazy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
It's
Like,
night and
I'm
day.
just not like, and I never even noticed that until like right now. Well, I mean, I've noticed that hip hop and wrestling is synonymous, but like I'm thinking about my journey through wrestling and how my journey through hip hop mirrors it, and it's just like, damn, it's really the same thing.
It's the
And then
same
we
thing,
and
bro.
then
really
we
the
had
same
we had
thing.
we had the albums with the wrestling and the rappers, and then they was intertwined. So we all
Right.
grew up with that. So it was like that's
Right.
crazy when you really think about it.
Bro, even coming up as a rapper is the same thing as coming up as a wrestler, bro. It's the
Right.
same
You gotta
thing.
come up with like a shtick
Yeah.
gimmick and
And you pick
something
a
that
lane
crazy.
and
people
how,
can
you know,
cling on to. It's really the same thing.
it's the same thing,
Would
bro.
would Adrian Bronner say same thing?
See, Murder gave us the Wolfpack Click song, man.
Facts.
Yeah, that
Come
joint's fire,
on,
man.
bruh.
Yo,
But I
That's
really do
crazy.
wonder. I really do wonder how people's journey into being a purist looks like, and when will they grow out of that? Because it's really not worth it. It's really not. Like being against anything that's mainstream, that makes you a hipster. Nobody wants to be a hipster.
Oh,
Like
come
I
on,
can't
man.
believe that It's true, bro.
Come on,
I
Qwan.
can't believe that's what I was. And sometimes, like, I still like I'm able to recognize this about myself these days. But sometimes I still suffer from that. Like, there's certain things that'll get posted in the group chat, and everybody will love it, and then I'll be the only one that's like, "Yo, that's garbage."
Yeah, you hate the
And
hype.
Sylvan always says it.
You hate the
Qwan
hype.
hates the hype. It's become a meme in our group chat. Qwan hates
Yeah.
the hype, and I really do. But I really want to understand why I'm like that, because I've always been that way. It's like, even when like Cody Rhodes, for instance, Cody Rhodes, right? I was all about Cody
Tell the
Rhodes at
truth.
one point.
Let's get it.
I
We
will tell the
telling the
truth
truth,
right now on this
pod.
podcast.
Yeah.
I was all about Cody Rhodes at one point, especially
Yeah.
when he had first returned. His music hit at WrestleMania. I was going crazy. Sylvan was at the crib, so he remembered.
Yeah.
I was losing my goddamn mind, especially me being like a mainly AEW fan. Seeing Cody Rhodes return back to that pop, that was crazy to me. So I was all on board for Cody Rhodes. But at some point, I feel like the hype is what turned me off of him. Like, he just got so over to a point where it's like, I didn't like him no more. I didn't.
I don't get
And
it.
that makes me a very flawed person, because I should not be disliking a person just because they're getting hyped. But
It's
I
tough.
do it. It's that I'm human. I'm human. And just to go back to Drake, I know we're talking about Drake a lot on this podcast, but I feel like that's the same thing with Drake. A lot of people were Drake fans at one point. When So Far Gone hit, you couldn't tell me that there were people that didn't like Drake. We all like Drake when
We
So
all
Far
Bro,
Gone
love
hit.
him.
I made a song to Bria's interlude, bro.
Right. And it's not like his music has changed a lot since then. He's still doing So Far Gone type of songs, and he's still barring like at points. But I feel like he just got so big and so hyped that a lot of people just turn their backs on him for that. He's just so popular that it's almost popular to not like him. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what happened.
Nobody in hip hop has done what Drake has done, bro. There's a lot of people in music who haven't done what Drake has done, bro. Like, I don't
Number
know.
wise.
I've always been a number one guy. Like, I like the dudes who are on top. Pause.
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 Big pause, bro.
Pause. But you
You
know,
like
the
dudes
guys
on what?
like Drake, the Jay-Z's, like those guys have always been the guys where I'm like, oh, yo, the guys who can master like going all the way to the top level but still keeping their skill and their integrity in line, is those are the guys I've always respected, man. You know, like, that's the reason why I love Roman Reigns so much. You know what I mean? Because I hated him for a long time and I thought he was
Hated that
trash.
guy.
You know what I mean? But he found a way to teeter the line between being able to be a great character and being at the top of the food chain and putting on decent to really great matches. It's like, bro, that's all you can ask for, man. Like,
Damn.
it just is what it
I'm
is.
And
not-
wrestling 10 times a year.
Right.
Facts.
And
He
I'm the
earned it.
opposite, bro. It's crazy that you're saying that, because I'm the opposite. And I'm noticing all this stuff
Yeah.
about myself as this podcast goes. Like, this is stuff that I never noticed, but you said you like Roman Reigns because you like what's popular, and it's just like, I'm starting to notice that I like the wrestlers that are hated most, because people don't like them. Like Austin Theory, for instance. People hate Austin Theory. There's a lot of people that feel like Austin Theory is terrible and shouldn't be in WWE. And because of that,
that's bad.
I like him.
That's just bad. That's just he's not terrible. He just ain't got no character. I don't know who he
Even
is.
Dominic Mysterio, there's still a large portion of people who don't like Dominic. They think that
That's
he can't
crazy.
wrestle.
I like
He's
most
terrible.
of the hills. I like most of the hills.
Yeah.
Judgment Day.
Heels are the better, are more authentic. You can kind of gravitate
Yeah.
towards them better. It's hard to
Hey, the,
gravitate towards the
the
natural
parallels
babyface.
between hip hop and pro wrestling, crazy. But I want to hear from the people at home, man. How do y'all feel about the IWC? What exactly is the IWC? Where do you fit in the IWC? Is the IWC a beautiful place where people go to discuss the sport that they love, or is it a nasty place full of puricism and people who just hate everything? Let us know down below how you feel about this. We got time for another topic before we get into the rundown, because I kind of wanted to talk about a television series for a little bit.
Let's talk about it.
What do you
All right,
want
so
to
look,
talk
man.
about?
So look, man. Our producer, right? He always brings up this show Hills. He always brings up this goddamn show Hills, and he's
Hills
always
is
like,
fire.
"Why don't y'all talk about Hills?" And when he does this, my reaction is always the same. We don't talk about Hills because nobody gave a goddamn about Hills. Like, the wrestling audience just didn't get privy to Hills. Nobody watched it. The show
Yeah.
was around for 2 seasons, couldn't find an audience, and it got canceled by Showtime. But then I started to think, and I'm like, why is that always the case for scripted series based on wrestling? Because when I look at the history of it, right, I think about a show like Glow, which was pretty critically acclaimed. I'm pretty sure it won a couple awards. It might have even been nominated for an Emmy. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it definitely won some awards. But for some reason, that show could not find an audience, and it ended up getting canceled. Young Rock, again, a scripted show based on wrestling.
Cancel.
It couldn't find an audience, and it got canceled. So my question is, why don't any of these scripted wrestling shows ever succeed? And I really started to think about it, right? And the shows that seem to actually succeed in pro wrestling are shows like the dark side of wrestling, right? Shows that are either like a docu-series where it's documenting things that happen in real life, or it's a show that's based in reality, like Ms. and Mrs., Total Divas, Total Bellas.
Yeah.
So my question is, are wrestling fans only interested in the reality aspect of wrestling when it comes to these shows? Like, can a scripted drama based on wrestling succeed?
I just had a hunch
What?
because both of those shows you name have no ties with WWE. So
Hmm. Well,
is
Young
that?
Rock did though, but Young Rock was
Oh,
in a
he did.
WWE production,
Oh,
and
I didn't
people
know.
liked it. I know. So the IWC, the wrestling fan didn't like the show Young Rock, but people who aren't into pro wrestling like that show. And I feel like
Oh
that's the
wow.
same. I feel like that's the same thing with Hills. It seems like the people who are into these shows like Hills and Glow, they're not necessarily wrestling fans. They're just fans of TV dramas. And I'm like, is
Because
there not a crossover, or is like have these shows just not been done right? What's the problem? What's the disconnect?
maybe the promotion was lacking because I'm not gonna hold you. I didn't hear about Hills for like the longest. I was like, the hell is that? Like I never seen it, so it's like, where's the promotion? I don't know.
I watched it a
Maybe
couple times. I thought it was pretty good, but
it was
it was
cool.
just when it comes to wrestling, I'm more just into the actual wrestling of it. I don't really care about like over dramatized version of it. Now, if it's like a biopic, like the Iron Claw or the Wrestler, which was basically a modern retelling of Jake the Snake, just
Best wrestling
loosely
movie of all
based.
time.
Yeah, facts. Besides Ready to Rumble, because I love Ready to Rumble, but
Ready to Rumble is a classic.
outside of that, me personally speaking, I'm just not into watching like a show like Hills. Like if it's not based in reality, then I'd rather just watch my wrestling when SmackDown and Raw comes on, or when AEW Dynamite comes on.
Dark Side of the Ring.
I
What's
don't
mine?
know. I feel like there's a lot of asterisks that we got to put into place with these 3 wrestling shows that have come to prominence, right? So let's start with Heels, right? Heels, I watch Heels. I watch all 2 seasons of Heels, and
All two, like it was a lot. Lasted
all
2 seasons,
2
baby.
seasons
2
of
seasons, and
Heels.
Showtime said, "Beat it."
We out of here. And it was a tight show. I don't think it was like
It was
the most
dope.
amazing show, but it was tight. It had a great story, great backdrops, and they had a lot of classic references like the plane ride from hell with Ric Flair. I thought it was pretty cool. The problem with that show, or the asterisk on that show, is the fact that number one, it was on 50 Cent streaming platform, Starz. That is 50 Cent streaming
Was it
platform.
Starz? I don't know why I said
Bro,
Showtime.
it was on Starz, bro. It was located on Starz. Now, for anybody who doesn't watch Starz or isn't privy to Starz, Starz is 50 Cent's streaming platform. Now, it's not literally 50 Cent's streaming platform, but 50 Cent and all of his many derivative shows from the Power Universe run that platform. Anything else on
Right.
that platform, unless it's like, I don't know, some type of movie that we've all seen, it's not getting any type of love or any type of success. So that's number one. Number two, on top of that, that show was centered around country white folks on a black centered platform. It's not going to work. It's not going to cross over. That it's just terrible marketing, terrible trying to find an audience. Now, if it was on Hulu or maybe it was on HBO Max, not even on HBO Max, honestly. If it was on Hulu or maybe if it was on Showtime,
If it was
crazy.
on Tubi.
Oh my God. If it was on Showtime, maybe it might have done 3 seasons.
Right.
But still, it wasn't a really it was a solid show, but it wasn't the best show because the demographic of that show doesn't reach a wide net. And then when you think about Glow, which did pretty well and it got awards or whatnot, it it did what it was supposed to do. But quite honestly, and I hate to say this,
I know what you.
I
I
hate
know where
to
you're
say
going with
this.
it. I know where you're
I
going.
hate to say this. A lot of wrestling fans do not really care about women's wrestling. Not only that, they don't care about women's wrestling from the 80s. Was it based around?
Unless they
unless
bad.
unless they're
80s.
bad. Now,
Unless
I
they
don't feel that
bad.
way. I truly do not feel that way. But a lot of wrestling fans don't care. And if we're talking about from a show standpoint, like anything,
But I
I'm,
gotta challenge that because they're watching Total Divas and Total Bellas and
but
Ms. and
it's
Mrs.
I mean,
and that's
you're
women's led
yeah,
shows.
you're right. But the problem is that it's not about a women led show. Women led shows always work. Like
The
we have
difference is
Gilmore
one is
Girls and
based in
whatnot.
reality and one is a scripted television drama. That's the difference.
Exactly.
So are
Exactly.
wrestling fans not interested in scripted television drama?
I
That's my
don't
question.
I don't believe that. I think that when we're talking about also there's the other show. What was the other show that there was one more show that was
There
based
was
off
Young
wrestling?
Rock. There was
Young Rock. Let's talk about Young Rock.
Young Rock was fire.
Now
Yeah,
Young
Young
Rock
Rock was
was
Wrestling
dope.
fans
fired.
hated it.
Young Rock was
Wrestling fans
fired.
hated it, but the show
Young Rock was fired for 2 seasons.
I thought it only had 2 seasons.
How many
It had
seasons
Maybe
did
it
it
had
have?
three.
seasons.
Maybe
It
it
had
had
three,
three.
right?
I don't
Three?
know. Maybe
I don't-
nobody watched that third season.
Honestly, it was only fired for 1 season.
Oh, it
Like,
had
I'm
3
s-
seasons.
It was
It
only
had
fired
3
for
seasons.
1 season, and then the rest of that was just like, let's just get out of here. It became
Casting was great.
and it was a vanity project. It was a vanity project by The Rock. Like it's just like I'm The Rock. Here's my life. Let's give a whole like spiel about how this whole thing went. But it wasn't really a great TV show. It was cool television. It's like it's something you watch when you got nothing to do on a Wednesday or a Thursday night, and it's on your programming, right? So like I just don't think
Wednesday
that there's
Dynamite.
been real scripted television based around wrestling in a compelling way. Honestly, let me take that back. There hasn't been a
That's
show.
one.
Let me take that back, right? Let me get rid of that whole statement. The real statement I'm trying to make is that in order for a wrestling show that's based around scripted TV to work, is if the wrestling isn't the central focus. It needs to be something that's going on where wrestling is a part of it, but it's not the central focus. Like Succession, right? Succession is all based around a family of people who are just trying to destroy one another and get the one up. And it's a bunch of Don DeMarcos and Bang Bangs going on at the end at the same time, right? But you would never know that they're fighting over a media company because
Right.
who cares? Like nobody cares. It's about the family. So I
Right.
think in order for wrestling to be hot, or be scripted around television, it needs to be based around something that isn't
So,
wrestling.
but my
Right.
question is, for instance, if they made a Succession style TV series, right? But it was pretty much loosely based on Vince McMahon and his family, the same way Succession was based on the Murdochs. Would that show find a wrestling audience, or would that show just find an audience that loves HBO dramas or whatever?
It will
'Cause there
find
is
an
a difference.
audience. It will find an audience that
I'm
loves
sure it'll find an
HBO.
audience, but will that
Yeah.
audience cross over? Would that be still? Because it's like the people who are watching Succession, that's not people who like all are into like Fox News and the Murdochs. Like,
Yeah,
we don't care
facts.
about none of that. We just watch the show because it's a good drama on HBO.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the
I
point.
I don't think wrestling fans will tap into a wrestling show like Succession. I feel like the only people that would tap into a show like that are the nerds that like the stuff that we do
Right.
behind the
IWC.
scenes. You get me? Yeah,
The
like
IWC.
the 1%. So
Because
yeah,
let's look at the one like scripted show that like wrestling fans actually did like, and it was a completely unique show. It was Lucha Underground, right? So Lucha Underground was formatted in a very wrestling way. Like there were feuds, there were matches, but at the same time there were stories that were not manufactured, but structured in a very TV drama way. So there were guys who were getting like kidnapped by the cartel. There were alien invasions. It was something that you would see on Mad Men or Breaking Bad, but they had like the most unique formula because they used that, but they also made wrestling like the focus. It was still kind of like watching SmackDown or Raw, but just with like the scripted drama on top of it. And I feel like that was the best marriage of the two. And unfortunately, it didn't last because they just ran out of money. They didn't have the money to pay the wrestlers, so it went under. But that was wrestling fans loved that show. So
4 seasons.
hey, and it was incredible. That's where I found out about Ricochet, because Ricochet was Prince Puma. If you don't know, Ricochet was Prince Puma in Lucha Underground, and he was going crazy. And I want to say my boy Swerve Strickland was in Lucha Underground as well. He was wearing a mask. I forgot
I
his
think
name.
he was.
He was like Black Amigo or something.
That
But
came out 2013.
right, so I feel like a show
13.
like that can work if there's money behind it and they actually can pay the athletes consistently. I feel like a show like that can work. But
I mean, but of course, a show like that's gonna work towards wrestling fans. Like we're talking about scripted television, like in a very like confined way. Like
But
it's
that's-
not gonna be based around wrestling.
But that's the problem, though, because a show like Hills, when they made that show, they wanted to find a wrestling audience. Like, they wanted wrestling fans to watch that show. That's why they had Stephen Amell doing stuff with like AEW. Like, they were clearly trying to cross over and grab that audience. But for some reason, that audience never went.
Because it was
Like,
on
they might have
Starz.
tuned in for an episode or two, but they just didn't tap in.
It was on Starz. It was
And
on
let's be honest,
Starz.
Starz, I know Sylvan is sitting here talking like Starz is just black TV.
Listen to
and
me,
it's-
bro.
It's
Yes,
all
it
just 50
is.
Cent shows.
Bro,
But Starz
even the
got some hits,
movies.
bro. Starz
Bro.
has stuff like
Like
Starz
what?
has stuff like House of Cards. They have
House
shows
of
that-
Cards, bro.
Starz
When was
has
House
shows-
of Cards? When was the house? When did House Cards end, bro?
I don't know, bro, but they had it, I think.
And you
Starz
think
got
don't even really
shows.
know what was House? Was
Bro,
the House Cards on
Starz-
Netflix?
I'm looking this up.
House of Stars was definitely on Netflix. And
Starz
It was
had
on
shows.
Netflix.
Starz
think it
has
ended, like,
shows
6 years
that
ago.
are very successful and
What
win like
shows?
awards. I'm gonna tell you right now, bro.
They don't have anything. It's just a power
Stars
universe.
has Power, BMF,
It's a
and
lot of
P-Valley.
power on this.
Bro,
it's
it's
a
just
lot
power.
of power, bro.
Like, it's just
And P-Valley.
power. It's
It's
power,
a lot
bro.
of power. It's a
You
lot
gotta
of
stick
power.
heels on there, bro. You gotta stick heels on the
BMF.
power platform.
So you're telling me
And
that Hills
P-Valley.
was just out of place, and that's the reason that
Yes,
it didn't
bro.
succeed?
No, I don't think that. I don't. It's because number one, it was out of place, and number two, it was a niche. It was a niche story.
But
it was a
wrestling
niche.
is niche.
No,
Like, we can
yeah,
say it was a
wrestling-
niche show. We can say it was a niche show
No,
because it was
wrestling
based
is
on
niche.
like
Wrestling-
rednecks. But
wrestling
like
is niche.
the most popular wrestler of all time is a redneck. So
It doesn't matter. Wrestling is niche, but wrestling fans don't care about a pocketed fraction territorial
that
show
right there
Georgia
is my
about
point.
nothing.
But look, but that right there is my point. Wrestling fans are very unique. Wrestling fans are very niche. Wrestling fans only care about what they care about. Because let's look at us three, for example, right? Even when wrestling is not, and this is before this podcast ever existed, even when wrestling is not on TV, we have a wrestling group chat that goes 24/7. We're talking about wrestling and what's going on, who's coming back, who's returning, who's leaving, who's injured. We're talking about this 24/7. Wrestling fans are very unique in what they care about. They care about the reality of wrestling. I don't think they care about a
but
scripted
wrestling
TV show
I
with
don't,
wrestling as
I
the
don't
backdrop.
agree. I don't agree. Wrestling fans are all encompassing.
So how come none of these shows ever work?
Because of the
Has
nuances.
none of them just been
you
done
just
right?
don't want to. You just don't want to
They haven't
listen.
done any of them.
You don't
right?
want to listen. Heels was a solid show. It wasn't a great show, but it was
And
on
so was Glow.
Power
Glow
Show.
was fire.
Bro, I already told you. You're still not listening to the nuances. Why didn't
No, I'm
Glow
listening
work?
to your nuance. You're telling me why these shows didn't work. I'm asking you why none of the shows ever work. No scripted wrestling
There's
drama
only
has
3
ever worked.
scripted wrestling dramas. You're
not
acting like
true.
there's 25.
All
Like
right,
there's
all
only
right.
3.
All
Name
right.
them.
We you just sent a list over like yesterday.
And
Did you
all
forget
and
about
half
that?
of those were what? Animes and like cartoons.
Still, it's still
Oh my god! Oh my god! Yeah, this.
Look.
Oh my God.
I think
until-
Hills. I do think Hills would have worked better on a different.
It would have worked good on
platform.
Hulu. If Heels was
I
on
don't
Hulu,
think
he'd
Heels
be on
would've
5
ever worked.
seasons. You know how many
I don't
shows
think
on
Heels would've
Hulu that
ever
nobody
worked.
watches? It has 6 seasons. It's baffling. Heels would have done great.
I don't think Hills would have ever worked because I think that the audience that a show like Hills attract is not a wrestling audience. It's a audience that just want to see dramas, right? But a lot of people aren't into the idea of pro wrestling. A lot of people might see pro wrestling happening and turn the channel. And Hills was a very pro wrestling.
That's like a
show.
but that's a short-sighted. That's like a short-sighted narrative.
Hey,
like
I'm only going off
Succession.
what I
I'm not.
see, bro.
I'm not into media companies, but I like Succession. And the whole thing is about basically a family trying to up their father,
but that
who
was
owns
like-
a media conglomerate company.
But you realize
how many
that
conversations are in Succession about the media company, bro?
But you realize that audience that's grabbing
And
from
doing
is
deals.
a very big. But can you listen, bro? Can you
I'm
listen?
listening.
You realize that a show like Succession has a wider reach than a show about wrestling, right? Because just because you and I might not be into the CNNs and the Murdochs, that don't mean that there isn't a super large portion of people that aren't. CNN and Fox News get watched more than any other networks on TV for a reason.
But do
So
people
it's like-
care? But
so
do people care about the background
Yes.
of that? It's
Yes,
just,
people.
all right, just like people care about the
were
background of
interested.
wrestling.
That's the problem. that's the problem. I feel like wrestling fans are so niche. We are so we're such a niche group of people. So it's like making a scripted drama geared towards us. You shooting yourself in the foot right there because we're such a niche fan of a niche base of people that like what we like. I honestly believe that if a show like Hills does like come about, right, and it is super successful, I feel like the success is going to come from people that aren't wrestling fans. People just like the drama of the show. They like the actors, so they watched it. That doesn't mean that they're going to watch Hills and go, yo, this show is so goddamn incredible. I'm about to go watch Raw now. I'm about to go watch AEW Dynamite because I liked what I saw on Hills. That don't exist.
I mean, that's not the
There's
point.
No crossover.
That's not the point. The whole point.
My point. My point is there is no crossover in a show like Hills. It's never
cares?
gonna work.
Who cares about a crossover when you're trying to make a great show? I don't care about CNN.
They did.
Nobody
They
cares
cared.
about what happens in
They
CNN.
cared,
But they care
because
about
they
drama. They care about drama and they watch Succession. Nobody cares about anything that's really going on in the background of a topic.
Who made
They care
the
about
show
a great
cared.
show.
The
A drama
producers
that's compelling with great characters and great promotion.
You're not listening. You're hearing me.
I'm just
You're
saying.
hearing me, but you're not listening. The people who made Hills clearly cared about the wrestling audience because they tried to do crossovers. They sent Stephen Amell to AEW.
Qwan, why didn't
You
that
think
show
they did
work?
that just to do it?
You guys are both right, which is crazy.
Why didn't that show work, Qwan? Why didn't that show work? Can you
Hills-
acknowledge
right.
at least why that show didn't work?
Hills, it didn't work because wrestling fans didn't watch it.
See what I'm saying?
They
It
weren't
doesn't
interested.
see, and that's my problem. Is that you think I'm not listening to you,
You ducking the
but
truth.
really, you're not listening to me.
I'm listening to
telling
you.
you
You're
why
just
it didn't
spewing
work.
some bullshit
because
right
you
now.
can't have a successful wrestling show in who cares, Georgia on 50 cents streaming platform when we got power and every single black narrative in the crack era geared towards black people that we are trying to watch. That's why that show didn't work, Qwan. If it was on Hulu, it would at least win 4 seasons. You know how many shows are on Hulu that nobody in the group chat knows about? Did anybody watch Mayans? I watched Mayans, but a lot of people didn't watch Mayans. But I watched it, and it had a great time. Now, I don't know how many niche people care about biker clubs, but it was compelling enough for people to watch the show because it was demonstrated in a great way. Why do people not understand this? Like, my God. Like you think people care about biking clubs? You think people care about the clubs? You know how niche that is? If wrestling is niche, that's gotta be the most niche thing I've ever seen in my entire life. MC clubs. Oh my God. Like just common sense.
Yeah, it would have worked on Hulu. It would have worked on Hulu for sure.
That's all I'm saying. It would have
For
worked on
about
Hulu.
2 more seasons, and then it would have still got canceled because nobody was watching it.
I
But
mean,
shout out to Hills, man.
But it would
Shout out
have
to
made it
Hills.
4 though. You know, at least 4 is
Yeah.
good. Better than 2.
You know, when it hits 5, syndicated. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know
That's
what I'm
facts.
saying?
Right.
Yeah.
But shout out to Stephen Amell, shout out to Hills, and shout out to our producer because he wanted us to talk about Hills so goddamn badly. We finally did it. And the result was incredible because that crash out that Sylvan went off. God damn. I want Hills to come back now, man. Like, let's get a 3rd season. Let's
Yo,
find a
for
new
real.
network, man. Let's find a new network.
Not on
Yeah,
Starz, bro.
Definitely not on Starz, bro. They would
people
show
care
Hills,
about-
and then it would go off, and P Valley would come on. And it's
Oh
like,
my
Yeah,
God,
like,
bro. Yeah.
that was
No comment.
insane, man. Sylvan is an insane person. Yeah, if this is what it takes to get into the Nation of Drizlam, I don't know if I can do it.
I can't do it.
The Nation of Drizlam, baby. It's a great place to be in.
Right.
I'm in Cold Mania, man.
But let us know, man, if you out there. Let us know how y'all feel. Can a show, a scripted television drama based on wrestling work? Can it work? Or is it just going to be like how it's always been historically and nobody's going to tune in? Let us know down below. And if you haven't already, I said, if you haven't already, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel. Please, 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 please. Now, fellas,
Please.
that was fun.
That was fun.
I
was fun.
had to wipe my tears away from crying, but
Oh man.
y'all know what time it is. It's time to get into the real wrestling. It's time to get into the rundown. Cooley, what you got for us?
I got a lot of stuff to talk about, man. And I want to first talk about, we all seen it. We saw what happened on this specific television show that featured Grayson Waller and LA Knight.
Oh my
Oh
god.
My
God.
God,
Oh
we
my
saw it.
God. Yo,
Yeah,
Waller
we
keeps
saw it,
trying to make
man.
me like him, dog.
Yo, I love Waller, man. He's dope, yo. But he stood on business and he went off on a news anchor. Yo, did y'all see that? I know y'all saw it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah.
did.
So look, for the people who didn't
Yo.
see it,
Man getting
the
fined.
people,
Yo.
let me just describe. Let me just describe what happened, just for the people who
Yo,
didn't see it,
he
man.
might get fined, man.
Yeah, he
I don't
getting
think he
fined
gonna
for
get
that.
fined. So
He
look,
threatened to punch a guy.
Yeah, 100 point
He
smack on that
threatened
guy.
to punch a guy, man.
so look, if you living under a rock, I love saying that, by the way, because shout out to the Rock. If you living under a rock and you don't know,
Shout out to Patrick Starr.
shout out to Pat. Huh?
Yeah,
oh,
Patrick
because he live
Starr
under.
live under
I
the
hate
rock.
you. Cooley's so damn stupid, man.
Cooley dumb, dog.
Cooley's so dumb, bro. No, but look, if you living under a rock and you didn't see what happened, man, Grayson Waller and LA Knight was on a news show, and I want to say Australia, right?
Yeah, it was.
And the news anchor was like hyping them up. They're like, "Yo, can you like come demonstrate a punch on me? Like, show me what you do on TV." And Grayson Waller, he was rocking with it at first, but he kind of got annoyed. And he's like, "Listen, if I come over there, I'm not gonna give you a work punch. I'm gonna punch you dead in your goddamn face. Like, stop playing with me." And a lot of people are saying that Grayson Waller.
Yo, Grayson is crazy, dog.
That was real. That was
Hey,
real.
yo, yeah, that was real.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was very.
Yeah, that was
LA
a
Knight
bad
sat
day.
there. LA Knight was like, "I don't want no parts of any of what's going on."
I want my spot. That's what you saying.
So,
That's
so
what
now
he
the
was
whole
doing.
debate is was Grayson Waller being extra or was he justified in doing this? Now I do think that the newscaster or the news anchor, I don't think they meant any harm by what they were doing when they were saying like come like demonstrate what you do, but at the same time that news anchor isn't involved in the wrestling world, so they don't really know. But that's disrespectful. Telling a wrestler to come do a worked punch on you on TV when literally the whole concept of being a wrestler is to convince the fans that are watching that what they're seeing is legitimate and not a work. That's disrespectful. That's like having a comic on your show and instead of interviewing them, you just put a microphone in their face and say, "Yo, tell a joke. Make me laugh." Like that's disrespectful. So no, I don't think Grayson Waller was wrong for standing on business and threatening to punch that dude out. And in fact, I would have liked to see him punch that motherfucker out. And again, I'm so sorry for cursing. I know I said
Watch
I
your
wouldn't do
cuss
it, but
words, man.
I'm trying,
Yeah,
bro.
man.
I'm trying. But
Hey,
yeah, man, Grayson Waller
he
stood on business. He was not
He stood
wrong,
on
bro,
business.
at all. Shout out to him.
I can understand why they say he was wrong from a professional standpoint.
Yeah.
Nah,
But-
man, nah.
but- He was right. I'm sorry, he was right because
Yeah.
I would have had the same temper. I'm
Facts.
sorry.
He wasn't wrong professionally either, because as far as I'm concerned, the most unprofessional person on there was that anchor. Like you don't disrespect the business that you're interviewing. At the end of the day, wrestling is a business. Kayfabe is a business. So you're not gonna get on national television and tell somebody who's upholding that business to betray that business. Like that's ridiculous. Nah, shouts to Waller, man. Like,
Facts.
and, Waller had every single right. I'm pretty sure he might get fined because he is part of corporate America. But at the end of the day, he stood on business and he upheld the standards of professional wrestling. Like,
And
you're not gonna get on national television and betray the fabric of your company and not only your fabric but your industry. Nah, doesn't work.
yeah,
that way.
and we've had a lot of dilemmas that happened in the past where in the 80s a wrestler by the name of David Schultz, I think I said his last name right.
David Schultz. Mhm.
Schultz. And he punched the guy, he slapped the guy, and he fell out, sued him, won, and he ended up getting fired by Vince.
Facts.
Hulk Hogan had the same incident. He choked the guy
Choke
out on
dude
national
out, put him in
TV.
the headlock.
You know what I'm saying? I think he sued Hulk Hogan too and won. So he better be lucky Grayson,
Hey.
take it too far. That's
Grayson
all I'm
said, "I'm gonna punch you square in the jaw, mate." He wasn't playing, bro. He
Yeah,
stood on
man.
business. Shout out to Grayson Waller.
Shout out Grayson from standing on business, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about Randy Orton, man. Let's talk about Randy Orton because I seen this in the news and I'm like, oh brother, John Cena. John Cena. I love John Cena though. But Randy recently said he wants John Cena at WrestleMania. That would be his dream match. I understand because they both came up in OVW, but
They
John
did.
Cena is so washed in ring to me, man.
Oh,
I have no hatred towards Cena, but he's so washed.
Y'all
Do I
not
wanna
down
see
to? Y'all don't want to watch
Y'all wanna-
that?
Do I want to watch it? No. If it happens, will I watch it? Yes. Because if this is John Cena's last match, it's a sad thing. But hey, man, we all got to watch that. Sylvan, you gonna watch that?
No. I've never
Oh,
cared about John Cena versus Randy Orton ever in my life. I'm sorry.
Even when it was hot?
Even when it was hot, I didn't care. I never cared about their
Damn.
feuds. I understand people like call them like the modern day Rock and Stone Cold, but like I mean, well, the Ruthless Aggression's Rock and Stone Cold, but I never in my life cared about John Cena versus Randy Orton, bro. Like I've seen that match so many times in my entire life. I am fine with never seeing that match ever again, bro. It's a terrible idea. Leave it alone, please. I don't please for the love of
it
God.
might happen, man.
Hey, look, I'm not mad at Randy Orton wanting Cena because it makes sense. If Cena's gonna end his career, what better opponent to have than his biggest nemesis in pro wrestling, Randy Orton? Do I want to see this in 2006? Yeah, maybe 2007, maybe even 2012, but in 2023 or 24, actually. What was the quote? What was the quote from The Wire? My boy, was it Slim Charles who said it? He said, the thing about the old days,
With
Those are the old
they the
days.
old
those
days.
old days.
John Cena versus Randy Orton would have went up in the old days, but them is the old days. This is 2024.
Yeah,
Randy
man.
Orton is what he is. He goes in the ring. He does what he can do. Same 4 or 5 moves. He's very good at that. John Cena is not in any shape to be out there wrestling anymore, especially not a guy like Randy Orton. So, no, it's not what I want to see. But if I do get that, I'm cool with it just because it makes sense.
I ain't trying to hear them
It's like-
spots be called out like that, man.
Man, Cena gonna
Neck
be playing
breaker.
it safe. He gonna be playing it safe.
Damn, like
Yo, why do John Cena be yelling out the moves, man? Always
yelling.
be like,
me right now.
It's like, bro,
it's like,
come
bro, at
on.
least pretend, at least put off the facade that what I'm seeing is not a work. That dude be like, chop me.
It's like, okay, all right, Cena.
Cena is preparing for season 2 of Peacemaker. He is going to be
Facts.
wrestling safe as hell.
Yeah,
I don't want to see it, man. The whole year of 2023, every match is trash, except for the last one. Last one was cool. I will give him that.
Was that
With,
Solo? That was
Solo?
trash too.
No,
Yeah, it was pretty
No,
trash.
he had one. Was it
Because
Carlito?
Solo match
maybe I'm
was
tripping.
trash. Yeah, nah. You tripping? Because
Am I
he had a match
tripping?
with Solo. It was garbage. He had a match with Austin Theory.
Nah,
it was
he
garbage.
had one match and it was cool.
It was
but
the
I don't
tag team
remember.
match with Sami Zayn. I think was his partner or something. But like,
Probably was that, but I know he
That's a
had
tag
one.
team
It was
match. That
one
don't
match.
count.
yeah.
no
Hey,
count.
Doesn't
man.
matter.
Hey. Shout out to Cena, man. He a legend, but
The last good Cena match was SummerSlam 2020 versus Roman Reigns.
that was good.
Dang, didn't
That
we go
was-
to that
We was right there. We was right
Yeah.
there in the audience, baby.
in the middle of COVID?
In 2020?
Yeah,
No,
I thought that was
2021.
2021. Yeah,
Was
that
it 2021?
Yeah,
I
it
don't
wasn't-
know.
Yeah, it wasn't nothing
It was-
going on.
But
in
that was
2020.
Brock. That was Brock and Roman.
Oh wait,
Right?
then who did Cena?
Wait,
Cena
wait.
wrestle?
Yeah, it was Brock and Roman, and then it was Brock and Roman, and then Cena returned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Damn. So when the last time Cena had a good match? Then
I don't know.
Damn, that's a
been like
question
a
we gonna have
decade,
to
baby.
get back.
Hey,
Yeah, that's
The Rock,
that's tough.
The Rock and Cena from 2014 or whatever.
wow.
Oh God.
Yeah,
man,
wrap it
that's
up.
kinda
Wrap it up.
crazy.
The thing about the
Yeah,
old
man.
days, they the old days.
Them old
man,
days,
man.
man.
They the
But
old
speaking
days.
of legends, since we on this legend topic, and speaking of WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar's Mania opponent
Oh
may
my
have
God.
just been revealed. And when I say I've been wanting this match before Brock retires, I've been wanting this match before he retires. Wrestling Observer Radio noted that Lesnar could be back as soon as next week, and there's belief that his WrestleMania opponent is no other than the IC champion, Gunther.
Woo!
Oh my God, bro. I want to see it.
Yeah, facts.
That's what I want to see. I don't want to
Facts.
see Randy. I don't want to see John Cena. I want to see Brock Lesnar and Gunther.
That's a
Let's
fact.
get it, man.
That's a
Let's
fact.
get it.
Who want to
Let's
take this? You want to take
get
this first?
Yeah, I'll take it. It's gonna be a classic, and what
Yes.
I would like to see is, and this is just me. This is me just being me. I would like to see Brock enter the Royal Rumble, and for Gunther to eliminate him. And let's just get it cracking. Let's go all the way to
Wait.
WrestleMania.
What?
Yeah, man,
Yeah, I'm
that's
cool
what
with
I want to
that.
see.
That's a good jump off start.
Let's get it
Jump start.
cracking. That's how I want to see it, man. Like going through, we get the preview at the Rumble. Going through eliminates Brock, and then even better, I think Brock should come back in and eliminate Gunther, and they just go crazy, and it becomes
Oh,
its
I
own
thought you. I
distraction.
thought you talking about him winning the whole thing. I
Oh
got
Oh
you.
no,
no, no,
hell
no, no,
no,
no.
Got it,
no,
got
no,
it, got
Like
it.
sir,
I
no,
want him,
sir.
I want Brock to pull up, go to the Royal Rumble, and we crack it off there, and then we have this whole thing going into Mania. Make it the match of both nights, the
Mania
best
gonna
match
be
on the card.
nuts, bro.
Right. Look, we definitely need that, but I'm gonna go a whole different way with it. So like, I know everybody wants to see Gunther and Brock Lesnar go in that ring and have a 5-star banger, like the Dave Meltzers of the world would call it, but I don't want that at all. Like, it would be cool to see, but I think from a marketing standpoint, from a business standpoint, if Gunther is really that guy that we want him to be, I would have Gunther go in there and squash Brock Lesnar like in under 6 minutes. Just go in there, beat his ass, chop his chest into smithereens, pin him 1, 2, 3. Like Gunther wins. I want to see. I feel like Brock Lesnar is at the tail end of his career. If he does, if he's not going out at WrestleMania in Minnesota, which has been the rumor for the last like couple years, then he definitely don't have a lot of years left. So at this point, I think it's time for Brock Lesnar to start putting people over on his way out. And what better way to go out than getting smacked into smithereens by Gunther? So I want to see a squash match. I want to see
Facts.
Gunther destroy Brock Lesnar and cement himself as like the most dominant guy going today.
We need Jay to get that belt off Gunther though, so it can be Jay versus Jimmy
So
for the
that's
IC
the
title.
problem, right? That's the problem. How do we book Gunther losing? Like it has to be like in a fatal 4-way or something
It
where he
don't
doesn't
even
get pinned.
It really don't even matter, honestly, at this point. Like it's like, bro, like honestly, him losing to Jay to me it's like honestly like why not? Because like Jay is bro,
We don't need. We need Gunther to never lose, bro.
Jay is as hot
He
as
said
he's
never
ever
lose.
Jay is as hot as he's
Nah.
ever been,
You
bro.
don't want him to. You don't want him to go after the world.
Bro,
the world
Jay is
title?
as hot
I do,
as
but
he's ever been. Give him the
yeah,
IC
but
title.
Gunther is Gunther. In a way, like if Gunther is getting that Brock match and the plan is for Gunther to win, then Gunther can't lose to Jay Uso and then beat Brock. Like Gunther just got to keep going. So honestly, like I've said it before on this podcast, I feel like to lose the title, it either has to be like a fatal 4-way or something where Gunther doesn't get pinned, so he can argue that I was never pinned, so I'm still the rightful champion, or he just give the title up. Because Gunther is an old school guy. Like the way he moves, he's very
Yeah.
about the prestige of the sport. So I could see Gunther going into the ring and being like, I'm ready to challenge for the world heavyweight title. So I'm relinquishing this title so I can get that title. And then they can, I don't know, have a tournament or something, do whatever they do with that. And Gunther can go without getting pinned. Because I don't want to see Gunther lose, man. I don't know. I know I've said some not so nice things about Gunther on this podcast before, but the way he's presented, I feel like I can't see him getting pinned, especially by Jay Uso. I love Jay, but
we
no.
need Jay Uso with that IC title, man. I'm sorry.
We need that Usos match. at
And on
Mania,
top of
man.
that, we need Jay Uso to really solidify himself as a top contender, and that's not going to happen until he beats somebody that's reputable. And
Why not a ladder match? Why don't we do that anymore? Like, remember when they would defend like titles in ladder matches, and it's like a bunch of
I
people
remember that.
like, let's do that. So
That's
that
they're
way,
scared. That's why.
because like if they do that, then somebody can win that IC title without actually having to pin or submit Gunther. Because I don't want to see Gunther get pinned or submitted. I don't.
either way, you need to
People
lose.
don't do ladder matches no more. That's crazy.
They don't.
We need
Dang,
Jay versus
man.
Jimmy at WrestleMania for the IC title. We need it.
Nah, that match don't need a title. That just as long as Rikishi is the special guest referee, we good with that.
Man, Rikishi ain't about to be no special guest referee
Hey,
for that
that's-
match, man.
Kurt Angle gonna be the special guest for John Cena and Randy.
Well, unfortunately.
Hey, The Rock might be the special guest for Cody versus. His chamber coming on at 2 a.m. Pacific time, and I am not watching that.
Sleep.
Yeah, I'm be getting some Z's, catching these Z's. Okay, that's crazy. Yeah, man, but we'll see where that goes with Brock and Gunther. Now, I know Qwan is going to be very happy about this topic because he was right, but let me talk about it. Jinder Mahal and Hook both got their title shots. Did their matches live up to the hype? I want to hear from you, Qwan, first. I want to hear from you. You watched both matches?
I sure
too.
did, and one of the matches lived up to the hype. Samoa Joe versus Hook was a goer. Now I don't know how I felt about Hook kicking out of the Muscle Buster at 1. That was like some moves should be protected, But I got it. I get it because that's what his father Taz used to do. His Taz would get like, I don't know, power driver, and he would just like stand back up. So I get that they're going that way with Hook.
Yeah.
Samoa Joe versus Hook was incredible. Fire. The fans were behind Hook, and I feel like Hook looks better because of this match. Like, he has momentum now, and apparently a lot of people tuned in for that match. Like, usually AEW's main events lose a lot of viewers, but people didn't really turn the channel when Hook and Samoa Joe was out there. So shout out to Hook. Jinder Mahal and Seth Rollins was ass. Like, just being honest, nobody cared about it. Jinder Mahal went out there to crickets. He got in the ring and stunk it up with Seth Rollins. He might have injured just Seth Rollins apparently because Seth walked out of that match with a limp. I don't know how serious that is. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But that match sucked. And it's funny to me that the cage match rating was what it was because this all started when, USA Network was poking fun at the cage match ratings when they tweeted Tony Khan. And, if you go check the cage match ratings right now, I want to say Jinder Mahal and Seth Rollins is like a 4. And, Hook and Samoa Joe was like a 9. So backfired, baby. Backfired.
Well, I mean, I never understood the hype over the matches wise between Jinder and Seth. My thing was he was going to come out to a pop. That's all I was saying.
It was no pop, baby.
I wasn't talking about a great match or anything like that. I was talking about a pop, and I was wrong. I got my
no
L.
pop. No pop. Y'all just fell for the internet hype. Y'all was IWC in that moment, but I'm glad y'all back to reality.
Yeah, I forgot that it's WWE. It's not AEW. But AEW. I'll say this. And then Hook versus Samoa Joe didn't live up to the hype because there was no hype. So it exceeded all expectations, and that match was incredible. And for Hook being squashed the way he was, and he squashed. Come on,
he wasn't squashed. It was
squashed.
Nah, bro, nah, that's not a squash.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't mean like he was squashed like his stock went down. Like
Joe
his
definitely beat his ass, but
that's what I mean. Like
there's two types of squashes though. There's a squash match where you just go in there and just get your ass kicked and you lose, and then there's like the Brock Lesnar versus Bryan Danielson squash.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
One guy gets most of the offense, but then there's a big comeback at the end, and then you look good when you lose. So.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like he got squashed, but he came out looking better than he had ever been, and his hype is back. Like he lost a lot of that hype over the last year, and I feel like he's gotten all that, if not even more now, coming from Samoa Joe. And I also want to point out that I love the storytelling. See, I'm giving AEW props. I love the storytelling. I love the storytelling right now because I'm starting to care about Samoa Joe being champion because of Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page. Now, Swerve Strickland is like, yo, I beat this man twice. I'm out of here. I'm on the bigger and better things. Hangman Adam Page is just like, I'm not even thinking about this guy yet. These two seem to not be able to get away from one another because at the end of the match, they both were facing off with one another with a Samoa Joe realizing that he has to actually defend this title for real. So I loved that nuance of storytelling. I thought AEW Dynamite ended on a really high note on an otherwise largely forgettable show. Just being honest, man. Not to get into that. I will say, you know what? Before I move on, I just want to say that with what's Adam Cole's faction called again?
The Undisputed Kingdom.
The Undisputed Kingdom. I really want to see you guys rev up. All the promises you guys made on your last promo made it seem like you guys were going to start a revolution within AEW, and your segment last Dynamite did not.
It was ass.
It just
bro.
Roger Strong came out with a mustache and talking about.
It wasn't good. It was pretty bad. It was just like, yo, it was like, what was this all about? Like, why did y'all do all this? Like,
that's not Edge, man.
Yeah, it's.
I'm digging the Young Bucks though. Like the Young Bucks, they rebranded as Nicholas and Matthew Jackson, and like they were like, I'm digging it. They're like EVPs now. Like their characters are EVPs. He told Shorty that I was interviewing him, did you get your check this week? You did? Oh yeah, you're welcome. I'm like, yo, this is the character we have needed this whole time.
I'm like, all right, cool. I'm here for it. Let's see where it goes. I'm not mad at it. I'm with it. But to finish my comparison. Jinder Mahal and Seth was absolutely terrible.
Ass.
Look, I'm glad Jinder Mahal got that match. Just because as a treat because he did job to The Rock and he got embarrassed, so it was a good way for him to, get in the title picture. But we all knew what was gonna happen. I love Seth. Seth is becoming Roman Reigns. Let's just call it a spade. Like
PWI wrestler of the year.
he is moving like John Cena in 2009. We know who's gonna win those matches.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but so far it's a good thing because I'm really excited for Seth and his reign. He's having the reign he has always deserved. So yeah.
Will we be hypocrites if we like this reign if we compare it to John Cena since we hated John Cena's?
Absolutely, but wrestling fans are hypocrites.
I mean,
that's what we are.
I mean, I don't really. I'm just glad Seth is getting the reign he deserves. That's all I would say. I'm not really like I love this reign. Like I'm not gonna go back and be like, oh my god, did you remember when Seth Rollins, had that 1 year with the WWE title? Like I'm not. This is a good reign, and this is what he deserves. He deserves a good reign.
Right.
But I don't really care for it though.
And Swerve Strickland got to stop wearing that eyeshadow, man. Like, I don't know where this came from, when his character adopted the eyeshadow, but stop, bro. Stop.
It happened after the Velveteen Dream apology.
Yikes.
Shout out to Velveteen Dream, man.
Shout out.
Whenever I hear that name, I just get hurt in my heart because I loved him so much. He was so dope. He blew it. He blew it.
Yeah,
the Black Enzo Amore, man.
Shout out to all them,
Enzo, man.
Yeah, shout out to Enzo. Let's talk about Mustafa Ali, his impact, y'all.
That boy.
Yo. So
That
according
boy.
to Fightful and all these independent wrestling promoters, his ticket sales increased, went to the moon for his first couple events. Yo, did WWE drop the ball on Mustafa Ali?
Yes.
I want to hear.
Absolutely.
What up,
Yes.
Absolutely. Y'all see it. He got announced for Defy, for New Japan Pro Wrestling, all these independent companies, and them tickets sold right out. It's a clear indication that Mustafa Ali is hot, man. Paul Heyman was on record saying that he thought Mustafa Ali was a generational talent. And this is Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman knows talent when he sees it. So we just got to call a spade, man. WWE blew it with Mustafa Ali. They didn't know how to market a Pakistani, and now they're going to have to suffer when Mustafa Ali goes to New Japan, and when he eventually pops up in AEW, he's going to be a star.
But are they going to suffer? Because WWE is WWE. They're going to win regardless.
Yeah, So WWE has reached a plateau where they're not going to fall off. It's not like not having Mustafa Ali is going to hinder their business, like even 1 minutia of a percent. Like, that's not going to happen. WWE is always going to be WWE. Like, as far as they're concerned, Mustafa Ali was just another spoke in the wheel or whatever. But at the end of the day, Mustafa Ali is going places in this wrestling thing, man. When he finally debuts in AEW, because I believe that he's going to eventually sign with AEW, or even if he chooses to go to TNA, he's going to be a big deal. He's going to be just like Matt Cardona. He's going to be like Cody Rhodes. He's going to be like Drew McIntyre. He's going to be a star. I've always loved Mustafa Ali.
Shouts to Ali, man. I really love I love this shtick and his gimmick that he has. And I remember Qwan, we talked about him having this gimmick and how WWE was just like, we can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Blah, 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 blah. And the fact that he's doing it now is really compelling. I think it's really tight. I honestly feel like he shouldn't sign with AEW just because I feel like it would kind of go against his gimmick a little bit. I like the fact that he's traveling around and just going from place to place and conquering. I think he could do a few dates in AEW, but I don't want him to sign. I honestly want him to be so hot in these streets that WWE comes back around like, yo, my bad. Like, let's
kind of like Matt Cardona. Maybe just like Matt Cardona. Like, he hasn't signed with AEW. I think he might have appeared once or twice, but like he just travels the indies. He goes from Defy to GCW to wherever, MLW with Jacob Fatu and all them, and just does his thing. And maybe Ali just stays hot.
Yeah, but hotter. We want him to be hotter.
We gotta go to that GCW show, man.
Oh, facts. Yo, did he get announced? Or who got announced recently? Somebody got announced for that show.
I think you send the
it
link,
might have been
and I think
Dolph
it was
Ziggler,
him.
right?
Yeah, it definitely was. It's Dolph Ziggler versus Matt. Nick. It's
Nick Nemeth.
Nick Nemeth now.
Hey, I'm down.
Matt
we in there.
Yeah, we in there.
GCW. If you pulling up, you might see the homies.
I'm trying to see Nick Nemeth versus Mustafa Ali, man. That's one to watch right there.
Right.
Yeah,
Right?
man.
I think they wrestled in WWE and it was ill, but it didn't get the time that it deserved. So
Yeah.
let's get it.
Shout out Mustafa, man. We hope you're doing big things, man. Let's talk about TNA real quick. They have
Woo!
officially relaunched Hard to Kill pay-per-view. We are back, baby. We saw
Mm-hmm.
Trinity lose her Knockouts title, Moose
Mm-hmm.
win the world title, and
Moose.
the debuts of our
Moose.
guy that we recently interviewed, AJ Francis,
Shout out to
Dana
AJ.
Brooke.
Shout out to
Shout out
Dana.
to AJ. Dana Brooke and Nick Nemeth, aka formerly known as Dolph Ziggler. It's a lot of returns, man. Are you guys excited for this? Because I know I am. I know I am.
Absolutely.
This is dope.
I don't know if y'all watched the show yet, but yo, TNA Hard to Kill. It was fire.
I watched
Like
a
it
couple
was
clips
ill.
of
It
it.
was one of the best wrestling pay-per-views I had seen in a long time. Like the main event was dope, but the match that I really liked was the tag match. It was like I want to say it was like the ABC and damn. It was like a 4-man tag match. Oh, and the Grizzled Young Veterans from NXT. They made their debut over there in TNA. But no, the pay-per-view was dope. Shout out to Alex Shelley. Shout out to Chris Sabin, still rocking. I'm excited for TNA, but I do want to bring up the fact that that audience that's always saying enjoy y'all wrestling. You know, y'all know the demographic I'm talking about. The enjoy
Yeah.
y'all wrestling crew, the AEW fans. They didn't seem to be enjoying all wrestling when everybody was praising TNA. It was a lot of upset people like trying to trash TNA. So that enjoy y'all wrestling bullshit. It sounded like some BS, man. But I'm excited for TNA. I want to see TNA do big things this year.
Yo, first and foremost, shouts to TNA, man. TNA's resurgence in the past, honestly, 6 to 8 months has been really incredible, and it's been kind of like out of nowhere, low key. Like
No, nobody saw it coming.
like nobody,
I didn't.
like I didn't see it coming at all, man. And they were definitely like the underdogs in the big
Right.
four, So to see that they're revving up this way and also giving fans what they want, Hard to Kill coming back, it's a really big deal. I'm just really happy that TNA is revving up the way they are. So shouts to them. Shouts to Trinity as well for having, I want to say, her last match.
I think she has one
Yeah.
more. I think she has one more at this taping. I think she's gonna give Jordan Grace a
Oh, one
rematch,
more?
and then that's it.
Yeah, and then we know what time
Not-
it is, man. So,
Right.
Yeah. Her
Royal Rumble
Mercedes.
yeah,
Royal
we know
Rumble
what time it
time.
is. Yeah,
Yo,
Royal Rumble
TNA
time.
TNA even brought back the cross the line motto. Y'all remember that? TNA cross the line. They brought it back, man. TNA's resurgence
they
is
bringing
so
it back.
crazy to me,
Yeah.
and
They
it's
preying
ill
on us
because
too.
right, and it's ill because TNA is like getting back to their roots because TNA was always like a fringe independent company that kind of masqueraded as a mainstream company at one point, right? So like TNA was my gateway to like Ring of Honor and all these indies because when I first saw AJ Styles and all those guys like that back in the day, Samoa
Yup,
Joe, Chris
Samoa
Sabin,
Joe.
Alex Shelley, that's what made me really go seek out Ring of Honor and like the independents. And TNA was always on that fine line between independent and mainstream. And I feel like that's what they are now. Like they went mainstream for a second and now they're back to being like an independent, but kind of on the fringe of mainstream. And I'm digging it. I'm digging it. So shout out to TNA.
Shout
I
out
want to go to a
TNA,
TNA
man.
show. I think we should go.
Yeah, we should.
For sure.
We should
For
definitely
sure,
go.
man.
One
Whenever
day.
they're like near the LA area, because I know they've been
We
doing
got
Vegas
to.
a lot lately. I'm down to take that Vegas trip just to hit TNA.
TNA had my heart in the mid 2000s, man.
Facts.
Yo, AJ Styles has a classic, probably one of the best triple threat. It's
Oh my
AJ
God,
Styles,
with Samoa
Christopher,
Joe and Christopher Daniels.
Mhm.
One
Bro.
of the greatest
Bro.
matches of all time.
Bro,
Classic.
TNA in the mid 2000s, like
That X
2008.
It's a different time,
man,
man.
bro.
That was a
X
different
Division.
time.
Had my
And
heart.
when you look at those guys from back then, so many of them are like went on to be like big stars. Like look at Samoa Joe. Look at
Yeah.
AJ Styles.
Mhm.
And then like guys like Abyss, who was like major deals over there. They're like the lead producers in WWE now. So
Mhm.
Yep.
and Petey Williams, oh my God, Petey Williams created the Canadian Destroyer, him and Scott D'Amore. And now like that's the move that everybody does these days. So it's like
That's crazy.
Amazing Red, bro.
Yeah.
So much influence came from this time in TNA. It's like it's crazy. It's crazy.
Shout out TNA. Shout out to TNA, man. That's
Yeah,
all I
man.
got for the rundown. Get it.
Appreciate you, my brother. That was a
Yes,
fun
sir,
rundown,
Ski.
man.
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah,
fun
man.
rundown.
It was
We was
dope, man.
touching everything, man. We touched everything
Yeah,
from
man.
Defy to John Cena versus Randy Orton.
John
Nobody
Cena.
want to see that, bro.
Nobody trying to
No,
see that,
nobody want to
bro.
see that. You know what? Hold up, let me rewind, bro. We sounding like the IWC again. We saying that nobody wants to see it because our demographic don't want to see it. But I promise you, there is kids out there who would love nothing more than to see John Cena versus Randy Orton.
I
Like,
don't
let's
know,
be
man.
real.
Do people
Let's
really
be
want to
real.
see Batista versus Triple H?
Hey, they definitely didn't want to see Jinder Mahal do anything. Y'all, you fellas thought he was gonna get a standing ovation.
I only
That
thought he was
boy-
gonna get a standing ovation because Cooley been right for like the past 7 weeks. I'm like,
He
No,
got an L now.
I'm like,
I'm
yo.
gonna be right for Royal Rumble. I'm telling you,
Who's winning?
I'm right. All right, I said it 2 months ago.
Who's winning?
Punk is winning the
Oh
men's
my
Royal,
god! I got a
Yeah,
whole
Punk is
rant.
definitely winning the
Nah,
Royal
look,
Rumble.
and then
Yeah.
Bailey is winning the women's.
Yeah,
I'm
she
telling
is.
you right now.
I have the craziest rant on CM Punk winning the Rumble. If that happens, like next week, I'm coming in with the spice because
Dog,
look,
he's
man,
winning the Royal Rumble.
there is no
Like,
way.
Who
Look,
do you think
it
else is
sends
gonna win the Royal Rumble?
such a bad precedence if CM Punk wins the Royal Rumble. I'm
Who
sorry.
else is
And
winning the
look,
Royal Rumble?
Look, we'll talk about that next week, bro. We'll get into that
Yeah,
next
we'll
week.
talk
We'll
about
get into that
that
next week.
man.
But appreciate you, Cooley, for the rundown. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for the Black Wrestler of the Week, where we show love to our favorite Black wrestlers, both past and present. This week, I think I want to nominate my boy, Sexual Chocolate, Mark Henry.
Wow.
Yes. Now, the reason I want to nominate Mark Henry for Black Wrestler of the Week is because a lot of people don't know the history of Mark Henry, right? So Mark Henry was competing in strongman competitions.
Mm-hmm.
He got to the WWE and he got like a big contract, a huge, gigantic contract where he was getting paid.
Max 10 years.
Max 10 years. So when Mark Henry came in, he wasn't the greatest in ring. He kind of was like a guy with 2 left feet out there. He was kind of lost. It didn't really translate over into pro wrestling. And because of that, Vince McMahon wanted Mark Henry to leave. But Vince McMahon knew that he couldn't fire Mark Henry because the way his contract was set up, he would have to pay Mark Henry all that money. So what Vince McMahon did is try to humiliate Mark Henry. He gave him a sexual chocolate gimmick. He made him have sex with Mae Young, who was like a 98-year-old woman on screen. And he tried to humiliate Mark Henry into quitting the company and walking away. But you know what Mark Henry did? He stood on business. He put his head down and he performed to the best of his ability. And he made the sexual chocolate thing work. Eventually, he became the world's strongest man again. And y'all know what happened after that. One of the first Black world champions. So shout out to Mark Henry. You withstood the hurricane and you made it out on top on the other end. So shout out to Mark Henry, man.
Shout out Mark Henry,
Shout out to
man.
Mark Henry, man.
Pillar of our,
For real.
and he has one of the greatest wrestling things ever, bro. It's sexual, baby. Let me give it all to you, baby.
Mark Henry, man.
Nah, I'm just
Yo,
playing.
man.
That's not the theme I was actually talking about. I was talking about the 3-6 Mafia joint. Y'all remember that? Somebody gonna get their ass kicked.
Yeah.
Somebody gonna get their
Yeah.
beat them up, break his neck.
Wow. Hip hop
hard.
and wrestling.
Hip hop and wrestling is the same thing. Maybe that's the name of this podcast right now. Maybe that's the name of this episode. Hip hop and wrestling is the same goddamn thing.
Same
It really
thing.
is, man.
Same thing.
Look, man, I'm nominating the homie AJ Francis, man.
Oh, I'm not mad at that.
Yo, AJ has been holding down. Number one, AJ definitely gave us a world star interview, man. Like, he gave us one of the best interviews, like period in life.
If
Like,
y'all haven't
life.
checked that out, please go check that out.
Definitely check that out.
Please.
But not only that, man, AJ Francis Top Dollar has been number one, really supporting us and really reposting our clips and showing, the homies a lot of love. And he doesn't have to do that. There's a lot of interviews that he's already done, and he's supporting the homies. And that means a lot to me.
Bro,
I
he's
know that means a
commenting
lot.
and everything. Like,
Commenting and everything. He's really showing us love. And on top of that, he just popped up on TNA, man. And that's a lot of love. And I'm really happy and very, very excited to see what he does. Even though, he said he was going to be traveling around the world. But, I guess, you got to start somewhere. So, he's starting at TNA. So
Right.
I'm nominating AJ Francis, a.k.a. Top Dollar, Hada. You know what I mean? That's my choice. Nada.
Hey, man, great choices. Great choices for this week. Mark Henry, he's a legend. He's definitely a legend. He deserves his flowers. AJ deserves his flowers too. I'm going with AJ this week.
yeah, I'm mad at that.
He really, he
Holding us
he
down.
gave us a lot, man. He spilled it all on our pod, and I really want everybody to see that. But I don't take anything away from Mark Henry. He gave us a lot of classics. This man has been through it all. Olympics,
Facts.
Nation of wasn't he? Yeah, he
Domination,
was in.
Nation
Yeah, he was in NOD.
He was in
Yep.
NOD.
Yep, he was in NOD.
Sure was.
My God, you remember when he had locks? I
He
was like,
Yup.
did. He had.
where
My
that,
man
where that
had
come from?
my
He
man
had
had
those
the
them Jerry Rice
Ste-
like
He the Stevie Wonder locks.
my
I
man
was
had
like,
the
bro, what's
pink
going
salmon.
on?
My man had the pink salmon iconic turn on
oh
John
the
Cena.
suit on John Cena.
Right.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
That's
nobody
yeah.
crazy,
saw that
man.
coming. I was like, dang.
That
I ain't see
yeah, that was
coming.
crazy.
Yeah, but
that was
he
crazy.
deserves his flowers too. But yo, AJ Francis, we seeing you doing your thing out here. Best wishes to you with TNA. It's a beautiful thing seeing your face in the front after
Yeah.
all these past couple years. We
Right.
haven't seen you. You've been BTS, but you feel like you're more at peace and you're doing your thing. So shout out to AJ
Facts,
Francis,
facts.
aka Dollar. Hope to have you back on this pod. Get it? Come back,
Get
man.
it.
Facts, big
We here.
facts. And
Yeah,
go
come
check
back
out
and
his
rock with
single
us.
"We Outside." DJ Who
Yeah,
We Out.
straight up. We
Outside.
AJ
outside, him
Francis.
and Who
Go
Kid.
check that out, man, because he be barring. AJ Francis is one of those wrestlers that can actually really rap. Because it's a lot of wrestlers. I'm not gonna say no names, but they be out there playing with the music thing, but they ain't really giving it up. They ain't really
Yeah,
saying
we ain't
nothing
gonna
in
say no
their music.
names.
Swerve Strickland. I'm just saying, but my boy AJ Francis is really a barring up on that microphone. So go check out "We
Facts.
Outside," please, man. Shout out to Who
Facts.
Kid, legend.
Yo, and shouts to
Legend.
Jasmine Madison too, man.
Shout out to Jasmine Madison.
Yeah, man. He was like,
Heck
he
yeah.
said what's up about the like, just on a cool tip. Like he went through my whole catalog musically and was like, yo, this dude is super tight on our last pod, man. So shouts to
Yeah.
you, bro. You ain't have to go through the whole
Oh, heck
catalog.
yeah.
That's crazy. So shouts to you,
Facts.
man.
Shout out all our fans, man.
Yeah,
we
man.
we really do love y'all. Y'all don't understand. I'm gonna try to start commenting in these comments more because I want to talk to y'all one on one. But like we see everything y'all say. Like we be in our group chat. Like look at this dude, man. Shout out to him. Shout out to her. Shout out to them. Like y'all showing mad love, and we really, really, really do appreciate that from the bottom of our hearts. So
Day one
Word is
homies.
bond. Word
keep
is
tuning
bond.
in, man. Keep tuning in. We got a lot coming in 2024. I keep wanting to say 2023 because it's just January, and I get those years mixed up. But
Shouts
new
out
year,
to our
baby.
haters too, man. We need
I
that.
love the haters.
We love the
I
hate.
love the haters.
We
And
need
you know
that.
what? Hey, AJ Francis is bringing in a lot of the hate. I see it. I see our TikTok
love the hate.
comments.
Yeah,
What
it's
50 Cent say?
questionable.
I love the hate.
Need you to
Like,
hate.
hate.
Need you to hate. Yeah.
some dude was like he said something about AJ Francis, and then he started coming at us, and I'm like, I'm the 50 Cent meme. Like, what do he say F me for? Like, what I do?
That was on TikTok.
Yes, bro. They in the comments
Yeah,
going crazy,
slimy.
but I love it. I love it. If you don't already, make sure you follow us on TikTok, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Snapchat, follow us on anything that Wrestling with the Homies. Just search Wrestling with the Homies. I'm sure we'll pop up, baby. I think we even on Facebook. I don't know what's going on over there on that Facebook because I never
Damn,
checked
yeah, I
Facebook in
don't
my
know.
life,
My
but I'm
Facebook
sure
hacked.
I'm sure we exist over there. So go check us out over there too, man. Now, fellas, y'all know what time it is, man. It's time for the packs. It's time for the packs. And shout out to the guy I packed up last week, man, Brian Pillman Jr. I don't know if he heard this podcast or if he just saw some comments online, but he said that the barber that is cutting his beard was
Mellows,
actually
right?
put onto him by Carmelo Hayes. Yeah. So
Yep.
we got Carmelo Hayes to blame for that. Mello, why you do that white boy like that, man? Why you do that white boy like that? Y'all got him out here wearing Beijing in his beard.
Man.
No.
Tough.
No. But this week, I hate to do this, but I gotta pack up my two friends, man. I gotta pack up Sylvan LeQ.
Oh,
I gotta
here we
pack
go.
up Jay Cooley.
Oh, here we go.
Because
Let's
you
go.
dudes sat here and told me that Jinder Mahal would be the biggest star in wrestling
Oh, we did
overnight.
We
not.
didn't
Why are
say
you
that.
capping?
We
You
didn't say
fellas
that.
sat here
No,
and
no.
told
Stop
me
capping, dog.
that
No.
Jinder
Stop
Mahal
No.
Stop
would come
capping.
from behind that curtain on Monday and get cheers. You
Yeah,
thought
say that
Jinder
shit.
Mahal was gonna be cheered because of a tweet by Tony Khan. Nobody
because of
in
the
the
tweet.
real world knows that Tony Khan and Jinder Mahal has ever even interacted because nobody cares about Tony Khan and Jinder Mahal. So you fellas were wrong. You deserve this pack. I hope that you revel in it and understand that the IWC is the IWC and it doesn't always represent the real world. So take this pack, fellas. Y'all getting packed up.
Whatever, man. I'll take that pack. I am packing up the Undisputed Kingdom. I'm sorry, guys. It look. I don't. Your segment was the worst part of Dynamite, and you guys were like, you guys came off of this whole angle and whole arc um, with MJF, and MJF is out of here, and I just feel like what you guys are doing right now is really boring, and it's not just boring; it's kind of trash, and I want better for y'all. Y'all say y'all was gonna revolutionize and change AEW, but it just sounds like y'all are doing nothing. And when you guys, I think they were setting up a match between with Orange Cassidy, and Orange Cassidy was like, "Well, we can do the match right now," and Homie's response was, "Well, I'm gonna wait and play mind games with you." You guys suck.
Boo.
You guys suck. That's not even. That's not even who.
Tomatoes.
First off, who even says anything like that?
It's still early. It's still early. It's still early.
It's not early enough, baby. You
It's
guys
still
are getting,
early,
y'all are
man.
getting this pack.
Nah.
Pack. PACK.
It's still early, bro.
It's going nowhere, pal.
Let's not forget, man. Sylvan used to be in the group chat every day telling us that the Judgment Day was the worst faction of all time. It was trash.
It was, and it
garbage.
was.
Now, look,
It
Judgment Day,
was.
the hottest thing going, man.
Because of Dom.
Yeah, but I'm
Nah.
saying that it was early. We just had to let it. We got to.
Hey, I've had faith since day one with the Judgment
Cooley
Day,
had
man.
faith. Cooley had faith.
That's
Y'all
all
have
facts.
faith.
Cooley.
Do y'all
People don't
have
know.
faith?
Cooley is a really Finn Balor fan.
Do y'all have faith in the Undisputed Kingdom?
I got faith in. So I'm not really a Matt Taven fan, and I don't really care about the other homie either. But I like Roger Strong, and I have faith in Adam Cole. So I think they'll get it together. And I like Wardlow, so I think they'll get it together eventually. It started off rocky because clearly Tony Khan just didn't know how to book the end to that whole devil reveal thing. But we'll get on
Sounds
track,
like
baby.
a bunch
Give
of
us some
guys
time.
we'll-
who didn't
we'll
like
let it play
MJF
out.
clicked
Let
up
it play
together.
I guess
I
we'll
don't
let
know.
it play out. What?
It sounds like a bunch of
Facts.
guys who didn't like MJF
My-
got together
Of the week.
and clicked up. It's not compelling.
That's facts.
Where is MJF?
He's gone.
Royal Rumble. And I'm just playing.
Nah, he's still AEW.
Facts.
Person I'm packing up this week is I watched this man growing up.
It's tough.
Dustin Rhodes. Yeah, I'm packing up Dustin Rhodes.
The hell Goldust do?
Oh, I know what
I'm
he did.
packing
Yeah,
up
I know.
Goldust,
He's talking
man,
about the
'cause
tweet.
he's complaining. He wants to complain because he thinks his brother is the right one who should be in the main event, not The Rock, because it's Cody's time, bro. Relax, bro.
Yeah, facts.
We've been waiting for this Rock and Roman, man. Like, I'm sorry that Cody gotta wait it out another year. It's the rules, man. What what's his name on the wire? I keep wanting to call him Ace, but his name is not Ace. His name is Ace on Paid in
Oh
Full.
yeah. Damn,
How
what
the
was
game
his
is
name?
played.
We had
You
Stringer
can't
Bell
do that.
and Avon Barksdale.
Avon. He said the game is the game. Like,
The game is the game, bro.
what we talking about? Yo, we getting Rock and Roman. I'm sorry, Goldust, that
Hey.
Cody is
Right.
It is what it is,
The
man.
game
So
is the game.
the game is the game. Bro, The Wire has so many quotables. I love that show.
Bro, how the
it's
game is
our
played.
Second Wire quote from today, like, man, it's not how the game is played.
The game is played.
Hey,
But yeah, Goldust, you getting this pack, brother.
and look, Goldust, Dustin Rhodes, Dustin Reynolds, whatever you want to go by. You are a legend, my brother. But
Legend.
like Slim Charles said, think about the old days.
Yo, Qwan, yo.
Nah, but shout out to Dustin Rhodes, man. Shout out to Dustin.
Yo, Dustin, I just want to let you know it's
I just want to
always
get that quote off
I
again.
want to let you know, Dustin, it's always The Rock's time. It just is. There's nothing we can do about it,
Facts.
That's just how it is. Yeah.
Right. But shout out to Dustin. Shout out to you two fellas. And shout out to the Undisputed. I was about to say Undisputed Era, but the Undisputed Kingdom. Hopefully
Yeah.
they get on track so I can not have to come in here and defend them every week because I want to like it. I want to like it so bad. So just prove me right. Come on. Do better.
Watching
do better.
y'all
do
very
better.
closely, Undisputed
And
Kingdom.
on that note, right. But on that note, fellas, we might have to wrap this up. Before I get out of here, I just want to say we know Obafemi's age now. He is not 22. That boy 25. He's 25. His mama came out on Instagram and she said that Obafemi is not 22. She don't know where fans got that from, but the boy is 25 years old. Still younger than I thought. So shout out to Obafemi.
I don't believe her. That man at least 34.
Yeah, we need a birth
435.
certificate. We need a birth certificate, man.
Yeah. Yeah, they from.
But shout out to Obafemi, and if you haven't already, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel because you don't want to miss the rant that I'm going on next week about CM Punk because he don't deserve it. He don't deserve none of this. He don't deserve the Royal Rumble. He don't deserve any of that. But y'all gonna have to tune in next week to get that rant. Until next week, we are out of here, fellas. I love y'all. Peace. Peace.